Have you ever noticed some words in Spanish acting a little funny? Like something's not quite right? Don't freak out, but you've just encountered a stem-changing verb. And we're here to tell you all about these mysterious little shapeshifters of the Spanish language. And we'll tell you exactly how they work. To catch these pesky shapeshifters, we will have to answer 4 simple questions. Number 1. How do you conjugate regular verbs in simple present tense? Number 2, what is a stem-changing verb? Number 3, what are the 5 types of stem-changing verbs in Spanish? And number 4, how are stem-changing verbs formed? By the end of this video, you'll be able to spot shape-shifting stem-changing verbs a mile away. But before we begin, here's a quick tip. The ending we use when changing stems will depend on the grammar rules for each verb. But for today, we are keeping it basic and focusing on regular verbs with regular endings in the simple present tense. Ready? Let's go. Number 1, how do you conjugate regular verbs in the simple present tense? Let's take a look at doing this with 3 different endings: AR, ER, and IR. First off, verbs ending in AR. We're going to start with the word cocinar, to cook. Depending on the pronoun, cocinar would become cocino, I cook, or the second person, cocinas, you cook, and so on. Secondly, verbs ending in ER, such as beber, to drink, can be conjugated by taking off the ER and replacing it with the appropriate ending for each pronoun. For example, yo bebo, I drink, or tú bebes, you drink. The third and final ending is IR verbs, such as vivir, to live. For example, yo vivo, I live, or tú vives, you live. For examples of these verb conjugations with different pronouns such as ella, usted, and nosotros, check out the ultimate guide to the present tense article in our website linked below. And that's how you conjugate regular verbs in the simple present tense. Remember, if you want to learn how to speak Spanish, make sure to check out baselang.com, where you can get access to unlimited one-on-one Spanish classes with native speaking teachers, all via Zoom. Now on to our second question. What is a stem-changing verb? A stem-changing verb is one which changes its stem when it's conjugated. The stem is simply the part of the verb form that contains the underlying meaning of the verb. It's always at the start of the verb and combines with an ending or suffix to create a complete word. For example, the verb to cook, cocinar, has the stem cocin and the ending AR. Stem-changing verbs in Spanish are a group of verbs that resemble regular verbs, but they are slightly different in that they undergo a vowel change in the last syllable of the stem when conjugating the verb in the simple present tense. Let's look at the example of querer, to want, to help us explain. If we try to conjugate it with the first person pronoun I, as a stem-changing verb, the first E vowel is changed to IE, and querer becomes yo quiero, I want. Notice the vowel of the last syllable has changed from E to IE. Another example is soñar, to dream. This becomes sueño, I dream. Again, we can see that the letters have been replaced from O to UE. Number 3, what are the 5 types of stem-changing verbs in Spanish? They are E to IE, I to UE, E to I, U to UE, and I to IE. We're going to break down all these options with some examples very shortly in the video, but first of all, we have to understand that the following patterns will affect most personal pronouns in the simple present tense, except for nosotros, nosotras. There's always an odd one out. Okay, it's time for our last question. Number 4, how are stem-changing verbs formed? When changing verbs, a letter in each case will be dropped and replaced. Let's look at the 5 stem-changing verbs mentioned previously and see how they are formed. First off, E to IE. This first pattern of dropping the E and replacing it with IE is the most common pattern of stem-changing verbs, so it comes in handy to learn this by heart. For example, querer to want becomes yo quiero, I want. And just a reminder, more examples for all 5 cases and their respective ER, AR, and IR endings can be found in the stem changing verbs article in the description below. Next, we have the second stem change. O to UE. This second pattern indicates that if there is an O in the last stressed syllable of the stem, it is replaced by UE. For example, contar, to count, when replacing the last vowel from O to UE, it becomes yo cuento, I count. Quick tip, another exception to the rule is oler, to smell. The stem change happens to the letter H, for example, becoming yo huelo, I smell. Thirdly, we have E to I. Again, this rule applies to any stem that contains the vowel E in the last syllable. If we use pedir to ask for, as an example, replacing the E to an I gets us tú pides, you ask for. Next up is U to UE. This is perhaps the easiest one of the lot as only one verb follows this rule, jugar, to play. By substituting the U for UE in its stem, we get yo juego, I play. Easy, right? And finally, we have the I to IE change. This is almost as easy as the last one, except it's only followed by 2 verbs. Adquirir, to buy, and inquirir, to inquire or question. Simply drop the I in the stem and replace it with IE when conjugating. So for adquirir, the stem would change and become yo adquiero, I buy, while inquirir would become yo inquiero, I inquire. Well done! Now you should be beginning to understand how to use stem changing verbs and the 5 different types in the simple present tense. Hopefully you're beginning to remember the different forms of verb conjugation, but why not test your knowledge with some exercises in the article in the description below. To practice these stem changing verbs or any other Spanish grammar, why not schedule your first class with a Baselang teacher today? At baselang.com, you can get access to unlimited one-on-one Spanish classes with native speaking teachers all via Zoom. Try your first week for only $1. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and hit the subscribe button for more Spanish learning content. There you can find lots of useful videos and tips to improve your Spanish language skills. And why not check out our video on adverbs to advance your verb knowledge even further. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next lesson. Adios, amigos!